हरिओम प्रणाम्स। ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 ओ श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। ओ श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, pranams to you all. Hari Om. So we were going through the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Month of July reminds us about the Guru Purnima. Third is going to be the Guru Purnima. So let us try to read the vision. July vision has come, Ashram magazine. So let us go through Papa's poem. I am the tool. I am the willing tool in the hands of my Lord. I am the willing tool in the hands of my Lord. In whatever field I serve, whatever work I do, He sets me to it. So it is He who places me. My life is His. My body is His. Dwelling within me, He guides and controls me. Dwelling within me, He guides and controls me. My friend, comrade, and protector. Swami Ramdas. From the editor. At the outset, let us try to understand that the spiritual journey combines Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Spiritual journey combines Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Jnana is to know Him. Bhakti is to love Him. And Karma is to serve Him. Spiritual journey combines all these three. What are they? Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Jnana is to know Him, Bhakti is to love Him, and Karma is to serve Him. Here, Him stands for the Creator. He, we are talking the Him. So, who is that? He stands for the Creator as well as His creations. The Creator is expressing in the form of creation, all manifestation. That power, Papa calls it as subtle, mysterious power. One power which is dwelling in all hearts, everybody's heart. Total manifestation. So that power we call Him. So that is why beloved Papa says, to love all is the true bhakti of God, and to serve all is the real worship of God. To love all is the true bhakti of God, and to serve all is the real worship of God. Very often we do have bhakti. Very often we do have bhakti, devotion, which is merely limited to going to temples or ashrams. When we return from these places of worship, the deity is left in the temple and the Guru is left in the ashram. This form of bhakti, though all right in the initial stage, does not help much in our spirit, in our journey. to become aware of his presence within. So going to temples, going to ashrams, we go, we derive temporary joy, that is away from routine, so some joy will be there. Then when we go back to our places, what happens? We leave the deity in the temple, guru in the ashram. We are back to our own this thing. So this form of bhakti, though all right in the initial stages, does not help much in our spiritual journey to become aware of his presence within. However, if we, as spiritual children of beloved Papa, want to get stabilized in God thought, if we want to get stabilized ourselves in God thought, our thoughts, words and deeds must always bear the stamp of love. As spiritual children of beloved Papa, want to get stabilized in God thought, our thoughts, words and deeds must always bear the stamp of love. This can be accomplished by integrating jnana, bhakti and karma in all that we think, in all that we talk, in all that we do. This can be accomplished by integrating jnana, bhakti and karma in all that we think, talk and do. So the amalgamation of jnana, bhakti and karma, that is combining this combination of jnana, bhakti and karma is not a foreign concept to us. The combination of jnana, bhakti and karma, not a foreign concept to us. It is something that we do on a daily basis. For example, if we would like to prepare a cup of tea, we want to prepare a simple thing, cup of tea for someone we care about. We like them, we love them. So the first thing necessary is to know, we should know how to prepare the tea. That knowing will not be enough, So that denotes the knowledge. Then jnana. Then we need to gather the required ingredients and actually prepare the tea. That is acting upon the knowledge we have acquired. That is called karma. First thing necessary is to know how to prepare tea. That denotes knowledge. That shows the knowledge. That is jnana. Then we need to gather the required ingredients and actually prepare the tea. Prepare the tea. That is acting upon the knowledge we have acquired. That is called karma. And last but not least, when we prepare the tea with love, we will see to it that it is made to perfection, adding the fragrance of love to the knowledge and action. So last but not least, when we prepare the tea with love, we will see to it that it is made to perfection, adding the fragrance of love to the knowledge and action. That is called bhakti. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are constantly applying this in each and every activity that we do. All activities, all these three are combination only. One will not do. Simple having the knowledge will not prepare. So, knowledge by itself is not complete. Jnana itself is not complete. Karma itself is not complete. Bhakti is not itself complete. But all combination of three combining. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are constantly applying this in each and every activity that we do. If we add the God dimension, bhakti dimension to our actions by dedicating them to the divine, there will not only be perfection in what we do, but there will be a sense of fulfillment in it. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are constantly applying this in each and every activity that we do. If we add the God dimension, means bhakti dimension, to all our actions by dedicating them to the divine. Why dedicating? Because it is His power which is making me to do. It is His power which gave me the knowledge. Everything is from Him only. So it should go back to Him only with dedication. So to our actions by dedicating them to the divine, there will not only be perfection in what we do, not only perfection, but there will be a sense of fulfillment in it too. Therefore, beloved Papa said, do not divide bhakti, jnana and karma as distinct limbs of yoga or different yogas. All these three yogas should not be separated. Pure bhakti is itself the fire of jnana. The moment born of the equality of bhakti and jnana is itself karma. The heart is rising in waves of bhakti. So buddhi is enlightened with jnana. The confluence of these two produces the blissful stream of karma for the good of humanity. Thus the yoga that is formed of bhakti, jnana and karma is the perfect prema yoga or yoga of love. The yoga that is formed of bhakti, jnana and karma is the perfect prema yoga or yoga of love. Prema, love, does not mean the emotional ebullitions of the heart. It is the very form and being of God Himself, shining with the luster of perfection, in whom bhakti, jnana and karma are equally embodied. Let us heed these words of beloved Papa on the integration of jnana, bhakti and karma, and try our level best to apply them in our day-to-day lives. So this month's issue of the vision explores the theme of integrating jnana, bhakti and karma in light of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. This is from the editor. There is a Papa's quotation. You see, there are three functions. That is function of the intellect, of the heart and of the body. Intellect thinks, heart feels and body acts. Intellect thinks, heart feels and body acts. In the Bhagavad Gita, the great scripture of the Hindus, there are three yogas described. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, there are three yogas described. They are Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. That is chapter number 1 to 6. It is called Karma Shatkam. 6 chapters. Deals with mainly on karma. It deals with many things, but main is karma. And chapter number 7 to 12 deals with bhakti. So, Bhakti Shatkam. Sixth chapter, 6 is called Shatkam. Then chapter number 13 to 18, it is called Gnana Shatkam. So first Lord started with Karma Shatkam, in between Bhakti Shatkam, then in the end is Gnana Shatkam. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that one attains union with God through knowledge, love and action. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that one attains union with God through knowledge, love and action. These three must develop together, simultaneous. These three must develop together so that we can unite with God through the divinization of intelligence, love and action. These three must develop together so that we can unite with God through the divinization of intelligence, love and action. This is called integral yoga. Swami Ramdas. Integral yoga. Spiritual evolution by Swami Ramdas. The composition of a human being is made up of three dynamic elements, namely intellect, heart and will. The intellect relates to the faculty of understanding, heart to emotion and will to action. The realization of God or truth is to dwell in the consciousness of that supreme source. The intellect relates to the faculty of understanding, heart to emotion, and will to action. So the realization of God or truth is to dwell in the consciousness of that supreme source which infuses the spirit of movement into these three elements. Because by the recognition of this divine source, the life of a human being in all its aspects attains perfect harmony and peace of the eternal. By the recognition of this divine source, the life of a human being in all its aspects attains perfect harmony and peace of the eternal. So in the struggle of the human soul for arriving at this goal, he should develop the intellect, heart and will simultaneously, so that he can realize the source from which these receive their movements. Any abnormality in the development of one of these faculties over the other, any abnormality in the development of one of these faculties over the other results in disharmony and therefore in prolongation of the struggle to reach the goal. So in the language of the Indian mystics, these predominant faculties that form the life of an individual are called bhakti, jnana and karma. These predominant faculties that form the life of an individual are called bhakti, jnana and karma. So bhakti denotes the elevation of the heart towards the great reality through purified emotion or love. Bhakti denotes the elevation of the heart towards the great reality through purified emotion or love. So through bhakti, we can purify our heart. And through purification of the heart, it is easy to realize that reality which is there within us. So Gnana is the awakening of the intellect to the consciousness of the indwelling truth through discrimination and dispassion. Discrimination and dispassion. Discrimination, what is permanent, what is impermanent, what is real, what is unreal, what is perishable, what is imperishable. And disassociation. Then once I know, then I disassociate from the unreal. Then karma is action performed in a spirit of selfless and spontaneous service. So selfless service means no expectation of fruits of actions. So these three processes must work in unison if the aspirant would attain the goal as speedy as possible. So if we go simultaneously all these three, bhakti, jnana and karma. Karma, bhakti, jnana. So simultaneously if we develop, no, our progress will be faster towards reaching our goal. What is that goal? Becoming union with God, becoming one with that power. These three processes must work in unison if the aspirant would attain the goal as speedily as possible. Reason and emotion should mutually aid and control each other. Reason and emotion should mutually aid and control each other. And from the balance of these two must proceed action. Our intellect and mind should become, they should come together. If one is going to east, one is going to west, then difficult. So mind and intellect should unite. They should go understand each other, they should obey to each other. Otherwise mind will say, why should you tell me? Then intellect would say, you should listen to me. So they should become like Ram Lakshman. How Lakshmana obeys to Rama, no? Like that mind should become Lakshmana to the intellect. Then easy for the spiritual journey. Otherwise it is very difficult. Intellect says, I have the capacity to discriminate. Please don't do that. Mind says, why I should not do? I will do. Then it will be very difficult. So reason and emotion should mutually aid and control each other. And from the balance of these two must proceed action. When they are together, then action comes out perfect. Thus it is clear that to give undue importance to the cultivation of any one of these faculties is wrong. All three we need to cultivate. Only jnana is there? No. So bhakti also should be there. Then karma also should take place. All three should go together. So life's fulfillment lies only in the realization of the master power or truth, who is at the basis of the varied, gross and subtle manifestations in the universe. So our life will be fulfilled only when we realize who really we are. That fulfillment will come only when we realize that power, subtle, mysterious power which is there in me, the divinity is there in all, it is same. So when one's life has seen the source and end of it as one and the same, the intellect, heart and body are automatically attuned with each other in all their movements. So that realization comes, then all will come together. So to travel that, mind and intellect need to be united. When one's life has seen the source, that is, experientially known the source, and the end of it as one and the same, one source, one power, acting through all manifestation, once we are experientially known that. One and the same. The intellect, heart and body are automatically attuned with each other in all their moments. Then the glory of life is revealed in all its magnificence, because it is now filled with divine light, ecstasy and peace. A soul who has reached this highest consummation of life lives and acts in the world as the very embodiment of the highest wisdom, universal love and blissful activity. Universal love and blissful activity. So we will be equally loving all, equally serving all, and with always blissful, with the bliss. Words of beloved Papa Swami Ramdas. Devotee asking a question to Papa. Devotee, are there not techniques to join the intellect, heart and action? Papa, they develop together. They are three parts of the same being. They are the three parts of the same being. In meditation, you identify yourself with the divine within you. In meditation, you identify yourself with the divine within you. Your heart overflows with love towards all alike. Then expression is, love is expressed equal to all. And your actions are selfless and are done for the relief of the distress of others. Then what is the expression in action? Actions are done without expectation of the fruits of action, selfless, and are done for the relief of the distress of others, whether they are your relations or not. Everybody equally you will be helping. It is in the impure heart there is attachment. But when your heart becomes pure by constant remembrance of God, there is no more attachment in it, and it overflows with pure love towards the entire humanity. That is the expression form. So these three paths of jnana, bhakti and karma go together. They are shown in the Bhagavad Gita not as different yogas, but as one synthetic approach to God. Because God is not merely a silent and static spirit. God is not merely a silent and static spirit. God is all love and sympathy for the suffering humanity. And He is also God of karma or action. And His power works through the body for the good of others. God is eternal wisdom. God is infinite love. And God is almighty power. These three are the attributes of God. Again, devotee is asking another question to Papa. Devotee, should we take the 6 darshanas as representing 5 different views, another one as the synthesis of the whole, the last one being Vedanta? I am struck by the fact that Sankhya is being quoted very often, which, being a darshana, is one of the forms of error. Papa, in the Bhagavad Gita, we find a synthesis of all the yogas, Sankhya, Vedanta and Tantra, of Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Gita holds before us an integral yoga in which all the yogas are combined. Kapila first expounded the Sankhya, in which it is said, there are innumerable Purushas and one Prakriti. But Krishna changed it into his own Sankhya, in which there is only one Purusha and one Prakriti. One Purusha and one Prakriti. Universal manifestation is Prakriti. Whatever we see in the universe, any names and forms, manifestation is Prakriti. And the all-pervading spirit is the Purusha. The all-pervading spirit is the Purusha. You will find so many jivas who have ultimately to realize the Purusha aspect. You will find so many jivas who have ultimately to realize the Purusha aspect, and having realized it, witness the Prakriti standing apart from it. Once we realize, we will be like a Sakshi only, without getting involved. Everything is going on, Sakshi Bhava, we will just be watching. This is what is said in the Bhagavad Gita about Sankhya. Vedanta relates to the seeing of the divine everywhere in the universe. Seeing of the divine everywhere in the universe and worshipping that universal Lord with all your love. This love aspect of the divine relates to the heart, and so this is called Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is to do all actions of the mind, senses and body in a spirit of dedication to the divine Shakti. All these actions, you realize, are not done by you, but by the universal power, Shakti, according to the Tantra. So all the work is going on, but that power of God, which is there in the form of life in me, is the real doer. But I am thinking that I am doing it. So the power that makes the plant grow, the wind blow, the sun shine, is the same power that makes every other thing active and is also responsible for your own activity, physical and mental. All activities inside and outside are happening because of that power which is there in me and in everybody, in everything. If the power is not there, I am a dead body, no activity goes on. That itself is a proof. The power is the doer, the Lord is the doer, the Spirit is the doer, we are not. The power that makes the plant grow. We only provide conducive atmosphere. Can we grow? Can we do anything for growth? Only what is needed, we try to provide, that's all. But growth by itself only it happens, no? The wind blow. Can we do anything? It blows. The sun shine. It is happening by itself, no? Is the same power that makes every other thing active and is also responsible for your own activity. Whatever activities are going on through this body, mind, intellect and senses, through this equipment, are done by that power, not by me. So I am not the doer. When I am not the doer, I am also not the enjoyer. So physically, mentally, whatever is happening, it is happening because of that power. Now thoughts are coming mentally. Am I doing? It is happening, no? When the power is there, it is happening. When you know this, your ego sense is dissolved and you realize your oneness with Shiva, the static, calm, silent Brahman. When you know this, means experientially we understand this, not knowledge, not buddhi. Experiential knowledge comes, then our ego sense will get dissolved. And you realize your oneness with Shiva, the static, calm, silent Brahman. Even after realizing your identity with Shiva, you are active in the world. You are active not in the sense of an individual as such, but as an instrument of the cosmic power. I am the instrument in Lord's hands. Like the pen, it is an instrument in our hands. Same way, I become like a pen, and God is using it through this equipment. So you are active not in the sense of an individual as such, but as an instrument of the cosmic power. So these three, Sankhya, Vedanta and Tantra, together form the integral yoga. What are the other names? Bhakti, Jnana and Karma. In other words, Sankhya, Vedanta and Tantra are interrelated to each other. So Bhagavad Gita wants you to believe and realize that you are not merely a human being, but an all-comprehensive and all-inclusive embodiment of the divine. We are not human being, we are divine being. The Atman or Purusha of the Sankhya, Brahman of the Vedanta and the Shiva of the Tantra are one and the same. In order to realize the Godhead in his entirety, a person must practice Sankhya Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga simultaneously. Sankhya Yoga is the practice for realizing the Purusha, that is Jnana. For realizing the Purusha. Sankhya Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga simultaneously we need to practice. Sankhya Yoga is the practice for realizing the Purusha by identifying oneself with the Purusha in meditation, the indwelling reality. By Vedanta or Bhakti Yoga, you offer yourself completely to God out of one-pointed love and adoration. By Bhakti Yoga, what you do? You offer yourself completely to God out of one-pointed love and adoration. That means through love and devotion, you find union with God and realize his Brahman aspect, which is the same as Purusha aspect. By dedication of all your actions to the divine, realizing that by the divine power alone you are doing everything. First one is dedicating all our actions to the Lord. Then realizing that by the divine power alone we are doing everything. Then you eliminate the ego sense completely. Then what happens? And surrender to the divine. By dedication of all your actions to the divine, realizing that by the divine power alone you are doing everything. God is seated within me in the form of life principle. Because of that power, all activities are taking place through this body instrument. So knowing that, I try to dedicate all my activities. Then you eliminate the ego sense completely. Then surrender comes. Then surrender to the divine. These three yogas are linked together. They belong to the three aspects of our being: intellectual, emotional and physical. The Gita is like a diamond. The Bhagavad Gita is like a diamond. It has several facets: Jnana, Bhakti, Karma. These are all taught in the Gita. Sri Aurobindo calls it triune yoga, all combined, not different. Karma relates to the body, Bhakti relates to the heart, and Jnana relates to the intellect. You must be a Jnani, you must be a Bhakta, and you must be a Karma Yogi, all put together, head, heart and will. This is the end. Will means the power which works through the body selflessly for the good of the world. The work is done spontaneously. Why? Because the ego sense is absent in you. Sense of individuality goes and merges in the divine power. So there is no entity called sense of individuality anymore. Then, because the ego sense is absent in you, your actions bear fruit for the good of humanity. Now Mataji, words of Pujya Mataji Krishnabai. Mataji's sadhana, she is beautifully sharing. It's a joy to go through this again and again and again. How many number of times we go through also. Really, it's a fresh and so much energy you get. In the beginning, Papa gave me the name. In the beginning, Papa gave me the name and told me to chant it aloud and incessantly so that its sound should fall on my ears. So constantly Papa told her, after giving the mantra, Papa asked her to repeat constantly, loud, and then try to hear your Mataji's own sound. In the beginning, Papa gave me the name and told me to chant it aloud and incessantly so that its sound should fall on my ears. Then my mind started running in different directions. Mataji wants to chant continuously, but mind is wandering. Different directions. Till then, I was not even aware that my mind used to run in different directions. Only when mantra started chanting, then she comes to know mind is running in different directions. Till then, I was not even aware that my mind used to run in different directions. But as I started chanting Ram Nam, I became aware of my mind's wanderings. So Ram Nam chanting made Mataji to be aware of the wanderings of the mind. She recognized. Because constantly, continuously, if Nama chanting has to go on, then mind, thoughts are coming in between. Then Mataji recognized. When I told Papa that my mind was wandering, Papa told me not to worry about. Papa told me not to worry, but to consider that whatever I saw, whatever I heard, and whatever I felt was Him and Him alone. So, whatever I did was His service. All were His forms, and whatever service I rendered, to whomsoever I rendered, was in fact service to Papa's form. So, first Papa has been given mantra initiation. Then Papa asked her to constantly chant. Mataji started chanting constantly the name of the Lord aloud. Papa said, you start chanting loud so that you can hear your own sound, mantra sound. So that one-pointedness comes. That was the idea. Then Mataji, when she started chanting, mind started going different directions. She realized, oh, my mind is not getting concentrated, though I am trying to do constantly. Then she went and told Papa, my mind is wandering. You told me to do, but I am trying. But then Papa said, nothing to worry. Wherever your mind goes, think. That is He only. That is that power only, God only. Papa told me not to worry about, but to consider that whatever I saw, whatever I heard, and whatever I felt was Him and Him only. So whatever I did was His service. With our hands, whatever we do, it is service to our Guru. All were His forms, and whatever service I rendered to whomsoever I rendered was in fact service to Papa's form. My Guru's form only. All names and forms are different, but power is one only. My Guru is the power, not the form. So then whatever I do, to whomever I do, then that becomes Guru Seva. Papa told me to make my mind dwell on his divine attributes. With the mantra chanting, Papa also asked her to dwell on divine attributes. Papa, thou art Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvikara. Papa, thou art eternal, infinite, all-pervading. Thou hast become everything and thou art beyond everything. That means, Papa, you are everything, you are beyond everything. Such a Papa is seated in my heart. Thus, Papa made me do Bhakti Yoga, taking his name insistently. That is, taking the God's name constantly, Nirantara Namasmarana. That is Bhakti Yoga. Taking his name incessantly, that is constantly, then it became Bhakti Yoga. Thus, Papa made me to do Bhakti Yoga, taking his name constantly, then Gnana Yoga, contemplating on his attributes. Papa, you are everything, you are all pervading, you are seated in everybody's heart. Like that, no, Mataji? You are Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvikara, spirit. So, and Karma Yoga, serving all as his forms. So, all three Mataji simultaneously practiced. Taking the name of the Lord is Bhakti Yoga. Contemplating on his attributes is Jnana Yoga. And serving, feeling that all forms are his forms. Simultaneously, these three are practiced by Mataji. That is what Papa asked her to do. She has done it and realized God. When you read any book of beloved Papas, you perform all the three yogas together. Mataji says, when you read Papa's book, any book, all three yogas you are performing. You do Karma Yoga through your act of picking up the book and reading it. Beautiful, see. When you pick up the book and read, it is Karma Yoga. When you imbibe what you have read and it records in your mind, that becomes Jnana Yoga. When you imbibe what you have read and it records in your mind, that becomes Jnana Yoga. And the feeling of devotion that dwells up in your heart when you pick up and read Papa's book becomes Bhakti Yoga. So, reading a Guru's book, Mataji says, all three yogas you are performing simultaneously. What a way of looking, no? When you read any book of beloved Papas, you perform all the three yogas together. You do Karma Yoga through your act of picking up the book and reading it. That's why in Bhajan Hall, if you notice, evenings, no, book reading is done, 6:15 to 6:30. The book is covered with cloth, so nicely wrapped, with so much of devotion, it is opened, then nicely, then read, then again nicely packed, with lots of love it is kept. You do Karma Yoga through your act of picking up the book and reading it. When you imbibe what you have read and it records in your mind, that becomes Jnana Yoga. Whatever we read, from Papa's book, means the Guru's book. When you imbibe what you have read and it records in your mind, that becomes Jnana Yoga. And the feeling of devotion that wells up in your heart when you pick up and read Papa's book, becomes Bhakti Yoga. What a beautiful way of looking at things, no? All three should take place simultaneously. We need to pick up the book and read it. Simple reading, no use. What we read, we should imbibe it, and our mind should record that. Then it becomes Jnana Yoga. And with the feeling of devotion that wells up in our heart when we pick up the book and read it, that is Bhakti Yoga. All three should be there. Mataji. For some people, their chosen path is dhyana, and dhyana only. And going by this path, they gain everything that is to be gained on the spiritual path. For some people, their chosen path is dhyana, only dhyana, that is meditation. And dhyana only. And going by this path, they gain everything that is to be gained on the spiritual path. For some, it is bhakti, and for some, it is seva. But in my case, Mataji says, some people it may be like that, but in my case, Mataji's case, beloved Papa taught me to do all the three. And that is what? In turn, I am telling you all to do. Papa taught me to consider every thought that came into my mind as his dhyana. Papa taught me to consider every thought that came into my mind as his dhyana. Every act I did as his seva. And whatever I spoke as his name, whatever words coming out of my mouth, all that is his name only. Thus, Papa granted me the supreme experience of all the three paths until there was nothing that was not encompassed by these three paths. So, every thought when it comes, we should not think good thought or bad thought. It is meditation. Every thought is dhyana. Papa taught me to consider every thought that came into my mind as his dhyana. Every act I did as his seva. And whatever I spoke as his name. Thus, Papa granted me the supreme experience of all the three paths until there was nothing that was not encompassed by these three paths. The spiritual endeavors to realize ourselves by Swami Satchidananda. Mataji's is so simple, so practical. If we really apply, anybody can do. But very difficult. All three coming together. But she with her blessings will be able to do. Swami Satchidananda, by blessing man with intellect and the capacity to rise himself from the animal to human and from human to divine, God has given him the choice either to sink low or to rise higher. To rise higher and higher to become divine. By blessing man with intellect and the capacity to rise himself from the animal to human and from human to divine, God has given him the choice. There are two which you are blessed with. One is intellect, second is choice. God has given him the choice either to sink low or to rise higher and higher to become divine. When the aspiration to rise himself gets strong in him, he strives more for the knowledge of the truth of his real being than for the pleasures of the senses. When the aspiration to rise himself gets strong in him, he strives more for the knowledge of the truth of his real being than for the pleasures of the senses. This is the great turning point in his life. By his efforts to experience more, he will also be able to accept that there is a higher power that is causing this universe to appear, exist and disappear. He will also be able to accept that there is a higher power that is causing this universe to appear, exist and disappear. And if he prays to that power, he can also rise himself to higher. If he prays to that power, he can also rise himself to higher levels of consciousness. Here begins the real effort to rise himself to higher levels of consciousness. He is in frantic search of someone who lives in that highest consciousness. Fortunately for humanity, there are a few such. Only rarely do we see them living here and there in this vast world. They have realized their oneness with that absolute power and existence and are enjoying the peace and bliss eternal, unaffected by the pain and sorrows of the world to which an ordinary man is bound miserable. Taking blessings and guidance from such a great one, the seeker tries to follow one of the many paths, namely devotion, knowledge, selfless work or yoga. The more intense his aspiration to realize the truth, the faster will be his progress. It is necessary to know at least whether one aspires to realize God or to lead worldly life. It is necessary to know at least whether one aspires to realize God or to lead worldly life. Without such a knowledge, one is prone to seek only material gains and the enjoyment of the senses at any cost. But a little knowledge of the truth and the contact of a saintly soul will definitely make a great change in his life and ambitions and the ways he adopts to fulfill them. He will be self-sacrificing, loving and serviceable to others, honest in his dealings, kind and compassionate, understanding and sympathetic, and thus prove himself to be a blessing to humanity. So to help a person to lead such a pure and contented life, chanting of God's name as a special practice is advised by great saints and sages. Chanting of God's name as a special practice is advised by great saints and sages. The name, besides transforming a person who is a votary of it from animal to human, is also powerful enough to make him divine and lead him to the supreme goal of God realization. The name, besides transforming a person who is a votary of it from animal to human, is also powerful enough to make him divine and lead him to the supreme goal of God realization. So, the name has got the power. Now, slokas from the Bhagavad Gita on Jnana, Karma and Bhakti, that we will see next session. It is already 4:30. Some slokas are selected on Jnana, then Bhakti and Karma, all the three. So we'll go through Monday. Tomorrow is Sunday, there is no satsang. Sunday is usually holiday. So Monday again we'll meet, that is Guru Purnima. So Jnana, Karma, and kindly we all also will go through from Bhagavad Gita and bring out what are the slokas. We try to identify and share it. If you all, whoever is participating, if it is okay for you, kindly try to go through the Bhagavad Gita and try to pick up the slokas where Lord Krishna spoke about the Jnana and the Karma and the Bhakti. So Papa's grace today, so many clues are given for our sadhana. Mataji's is so simple and easy to remember is anything we touch. Simple thing, example, she has taken a book reading. When we take the book for reading, Papa's book for reading and read it, that becomes what yoga? Karma yoga. Picking up the book and reading it, it becomes karma yoga. And what we have read, we should imbibe, and then mind should register, remember. That is called Jnana Yoga. Then the act of picking up the book and reading it should be done with full of devotion, full of love. That is called Bhakti Yoga. So let us all pray to our Divine Mother. She is Mother of all, Vishwamata, to bless us all with that attitude, with that bhavana, with that feeling. Only by their grace, by Guru's grace only, we will be able to do. Otherwise, by ourselves, it is not possible. So we all pray from bottom of our heart to bless us all. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, pranams to you all. Hari Om.